controlling your breathing right now. Feel the power of you enjoying your greatest gift right now. That's you. That's your presence. That's your greatest power. Your power to determine to stay in the present, in the now, and be your true great being that you are. No matter what. In this present moment, everything is here you need right now. So let's see ourselves today doing the best we can in the gym of life. Here we are again. Controlling our minds. Controlling our breathing. One great thought at a time. One great breath at a time. So see yourself doing your best on all the exercises we do today together, here and now. That's your determination, your greatest power, power that's the same in you and every human being on the planet. Morning, guys. There is only one absolute certainty in this universe, and you have it. It's the ability to control the power of your mind.
Every day when I work with my students, we work on controlling the power of our minds through our breathing. This one simple act, this one simple thing that you can do in any moment, take control of your breathing, to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth, for example. That's something that you can do, which demonstrate that's the only thing that's certain in this world. So when we look at our outside world, and get ready, life's going to come at you today like it does every day. Things are going to happen that don't go your way. Understand that same power that controls your breathing, you can control your response in any situation. So try that today. Anything that comes to you, you control it. Demonstrate your absolute certain power. Have a great day, everybody.
Reinvention, man, what a big word. And when I found out that this was the topic for this month, I was just thinking, gosh, how many of us are in this life stage, in this phase, this season of life where we're wondering, what does it look like to reinvent? And more importantly, am I in need for one? And as I was preparing for today, I always just love to look up what is the definition. And reinvent literally means to change the way that you behave and the things that you do so that people think of you as a different person. And I love Merriam-Webster, but I also wanted to push back on that thought and to really challenge ourselves about what do we think about ourselves? It's not necessarily what do people think about us, but how can we think about ourselves in a different way? And I found this amazing article about reinvention by someone named Karen Merrick. And it says, here's the thing about reinvention. And I want for you to listen to this before we dive on in. Some believe that it is tossing out the old or your previous roles and experiences or even work identity and exchanging it for something completely new. But that simply is not true. And this is why this is good news. The best power of a reinvention lies in leveraging every single thing you have ever done. We're talking the good, the bad, the ugly, the successes, the failures. Reinvention literally taps into the very real and often underappreciated or unarticulated skills, insights, and expertise that you have gained along the way. So it's not necessarily about creating a whole new you. It's about leaning on everything that you've ever been through, everything that life has taught you, and moving forward. And I recently shared this idea as a recent mother. Again, there's this whole theology around bouncing back for moms. I hate the terminology because once you become a mother or once you birth a child, there's really no going backwards, right? We want to focus on moving forwards. And so this topic is so on point with where I'm feeling in my life, where we don't necessarily have to discount or discredit or disassociate from everything that we've learned or been through. This is our opportunity and our invitation to use all of those things for good as we figure out who we want to become. So real quick, I was recently at this dinner. It was a little mastermind dinner. If you don't know what a mastermind is, it's basically just a meeting of minds where everyone comes together collectively to help each other out. And I have not been in many rooms like that in the past 2 years, as you can imagine. And so it really felt like just this beautiful experience to be seated around people who are passionate, excited about what they were doing. And I noticed this trend within the room that as we went around the room, everyone was introducing themselves, and there was a lot of couples there, a lot of spouse pairs. And the men would generally start talking and they would share about all these things that they've done and who they are and what they do and how they serve the world. And then at the very end, the women would kind of meekly add in, like, oh, I just have this little side coaching thing, or I just am like kind of like an influencer. And it was almost this like apologetic acknowledgement of their identity. And we had a little break while we were waiting for dinner to show up. And I was sitting at one of the tables, and suddenly I kind of noticed all these women were around me. And one of them said, did you recognize that you were the only female who one spoke first, but who didn't shy away from sharing who you are and what you do? And I hadn't noticed that. But this topic today is so powerful because what I found is that so many of us are yearning for that purpose. And we're finding ourselves in this place of like, am I happy right now? Am I content? Am I loving my life or am I faking to love it? And so I just think it's this beautiful reminder that, like, wherever you find yourself today, there is always this invitation for you to change the way you show up, but also to re-identify. So, one of the things that I've been thinking about so much is a lot of times when we think about our identities or when we think about like how we want to reinvent ourselves, we almost become apologetic about it. But if we are really going through life as students, which I believe we all are, this invitation to change and grow and evolve should be something that we welcome with open arms. There are so many different versions of ourselves that we are always becoming. And it's our job as a human being to acknowledge our growth and to honor that evolution. It's almost like we can wake up and say, I honor who you're becoming, and I really like this version of you. I literally say that to myself some days. So one of the things that I think is really fascinating is this idea of identity foreclosure. So I had a guest on my podcast and we talked about this. And essentially what identity foreclosure is that a lot of times we stay in things too long that we know are not maybe the right fit or are no longer serving us because we feel like we've already invested time. Have you ever felt that way where maybe you started a degree and all of a sudden you realize, wait, this isn't what I wanted, but I'm already 2 years in and it would be a shame to throw that away? Or maybe you're in a relationship and you have this feeling that this relationship isn't the best fit for you, but that you need to move on and you're not necessarily honoring that intuition because you're worried that, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to start all over again, or I wasted so much time. Well, identity foreclosure is the exact reason why we hang on to things too long, whether it's jeans from high school that no longer fit us, or degrees that are no longer serving us, or passions that maybe just have not grown with you as you've grown. And so identity foreclosure is something that we really need to evaluate in ourselves. And a lot of times identity foreclosure, in my opinion, is coupled with ego. So let me break this down. I think that our society is really focused and fixated on titles, accolades, and awards. It's things that honor our success, but it's only honored in a way that other people can understand. And so when we look at this concept of identity foreclosure and we couple it with ego, I think that those two things are kind of this natural disaster, the reason why we stay in things too long when we're genuinely yearning for a change. Now, I want to share something with you. So I have been an entrepreneur for 10 years. And in the last 10 years, I have done a lot of different things. So I was a wedding photographer. I was a Midwest wedding blogger. I was a watercolor artist. I had my own little print shop. I started this podcast. I became a public speaker. I created online courses. I did online coaching. I've hosted masterminds. I've done all of these things. And most recently, I added the title author to all of the different things I've done. Now, I have really struggled in times where there are these transitions happening and I cannot communicate exactly what I do or how I show up and how I serve the world. But someone recently asked me, they were like, how are you able to pivot so many different times and find success in so many different places in a 10-year time span? I mean, that's a lot of things that I've done. And the reality is that my identity is not found in my output. My identity is found in who I am. And when we as human beings connect on this human level, it invites us to change and evolve in a way that people will support you as you grow. There's this meme that I just love whenever I see it. And it's like, notice who is watching you and says like, I like this version of you too. Those are the people that you want in your life. And so when we think about this evolution, and if we're in this season of like, I really want to reinvent myself, we need to let go of the ego of titles and things that will express our success. And we need to get back to, what do our values tell us success will not just look like in our lives, but that success will feel like in our lives. One of the things that I was talking to my team about when I started thinking about relationships is
as we are transitioning kind of into this new world and into this kind of new way of living, I don't know about you, and I'd be curious if you comment or raise your hand, or I know you're watching in many different places, but are you feeling any anxiety about kind of getting back out into the world and kind of exploring relationships back on a face-to-face basis? Because over the past year, a lot of our relationships have gone digital. And I was doing a little bit of research because there was this common thread on my team of women, and we were saying that a lot of times we feel like we're lacking a level of closeness in relationships, like we don't have a lot of close friends. But actually, when we did research, people generally have 3 to 5 close and personal relationships. That's it. And I think that a lot of times in our lives, we kind of tell ourselves these lies of like, I don't have a lot of friends, or people don't love me, or I don't have a lot of close people in my life. But when I saw that 3 to 5 number, I was like, wait, this is what reality is. Relationships take time and energy and work. And based on what stage of life you're in, that can look totally different. And so thinking about, on average, people having 3 to 5 close and personal relationships, I think that gives us permission to go really deep with our relationships and have them be super quality without worrying about quantity. So I was also curious about how the pandemic affected relationships, what people were reporting. And so what was super interesting is about half, so 46% of people that responded to the survey reported that the pandemic didn't really change their relationship. So about half of the people. Now, of the other half, 27% stated that it improved their relationship, and 27% reported that the pandemic made their relationship worse. So it's super interesting to me because half of the people remained status quo when it comes to relationships, whether that's friendships or love relationships. And then of the other half, it was 50-50 in terms of if it helped their relationship or if it hurt their relationship. And so I just think we're coming at a really interesting place when we're talking about relationships, because everyone's in a different situation. And that's why I love this month on Growth Day, because there are so many different ways to look at relationships: your relationship with yourself, your relationship with your family, your friends, your relationship with money. But knowing also too, kind of taking an assessment of where you're at after this last year and just being really honest, because we're going to get into something I'm really excited about, which is relationship archetypes. And if you kind of come at it from a place of knowing where you're at in a relationship, it'll help. So one of the last things that they found over the last year, so Wolfgang Krieger, he's a Berlin-based psychologist, notes that during the pandemic, people were reducing social interactions and focusing on fewer, closer relationships. So if we get back to that idea of 3 to 5 relationships, close and personal, I think one of the beautiful things of this past year is that it almost challenged us to kind of let go of some of those relationships on the fringe, maybe that aren't serving or that are draining us, and really focus on deepening the relationships that are really personal and important to us. And so I think it's kind of a cool signifier that we were almost granted that permission through the last year. So speaking of last year, my team and I, we hired an emotional intelligence expert, and it was honestly so fascinating. Her name is Tico Nejan, and she changed my life and she changed my team's life. And in our analysis of emotional intelligence, we had to do these personal assessments. If you've ever done like the Enneagram or the Myers-Briggs, it's very similar to that, where you're kind of rating yourself. And one of the things that Tico called me out on throughout our relationship was that she said, Jenna, I see that you repeat a lot of the same behaviors in your relationships. She said, I sense these like patterns that you have. A lot of times I love to be the person that's the giver. And I'm not saying that as like a toot my own horn, like I love to give, but I love to show up in a relationship where I know I can add value, where I know I can help somebody. And when she called me out on that, she was like, my challenge for you is to like ask for help and not promise anything in return. I'm so bad at that. Like, I hate inconveniencing other people. I hate asking for anything. And she was like, you need to start flexing that muscle, getting better at that. And so Tico started challenging me to like work on relationships that I wasn't always the one giving or always the one making sure that someone was taken care of. And it honestly was a huge challenge for me. But what's so interesting is if you've never looked at relationship patterns, these patterns can be both good and bad. It's very similar to knowing your personality type, because when you can start to figure out what type of person you are or how you most commonly show up in relationships, it allows you to just bring this level of awareness to, is this healthy behavior or unhealthy behavior? And our relationships patterns dictate three basic things. So when we nail down what our patterns are, here's the things that they usually dictate. They dictate who we choose. So who are we choosing to be in relationship with? Again, this can be a love relationship, a friendship, whatever that looks like. So the kind of people that we're choosing, the behaviors we exhibit in relationships or how we show up or act, and what we will allow in terms of how someone else treats us. Okay, so who we pick, the behaviors we exhibit, and what we allow in how we are treated. And so this group, the Science of People, they nail down 5 main archetypes of relationships. So listen closely. I'm going to walk through the 5 main types. So the first type of person that generally shows up in a relationship is the caregiver. So the caregiver is when you're always trying to take care of or fix someone. You might seek out a relationship with someone who you believe needs to be fixed, even if they don't agree or they don't acknowledge that. So the first type is the caregiver. The second type is the alpha. So you want to be the dominant force, the one who makes the decisions, the person in charge. You kind of create the rules of the relationship. The third type is the parent. And I kind of giggled at this one because you take on a more maternal or paternal role. And it said, like, if you're constantly nagging your spouse to empty the dishwasher or pay the bills on time or put their shoes away. And I was like, oh gosh, is that me? But it's where you're parenting the other person. And so the third one is the parent. The fourth one is the codependent. So you lose your individuality to become this unit. You become kind of one with the other person, and you each kind of give up your individual identities to kind of create a new one together. That's the codependent. And then the last one is the push-pull. So this is the more volatile approach to relationships. It's the type of relationship where you commonly make up and break up. There's a lot of drama. Highs are high, the lows are low. So again, the 5 are caregiver, alpha, parent, codependent, and the push-pull. And I think it's super interesting because you can take on traits of different ones with different relationships, but what they found is that generally we show up as one main type, and that our relationships, who we choose, how we act, and the behaviors that we accept are generally based off of that archetype. And I thought that was so interesting. If you know which one you are, comment so that I can see. I'm just super curious. So when Tico, our emotional intelligence expert, called me out, I recognized I'm generally the caregiver, the person who loves to help and fix and come in and make things better. But I realized that like I need to kind of back off of that a little bit and also ask for care to be delivered back without strings attached. That's what a relationship is, right? It's not one-sided. And so awareness around the role is just something that can really heighten how you show up. And it can also kind of give you pause when you're in certain scenarios where you're prone to be the alpha or to parent or to create that push and pull, that drama, so that you can kind of take a step back and really enrich your relationships.
New style, down, do your dance, do your We got a brand new dance. Down, do your dance, do your dance. Down, do your dance, down, do your dance, do your dance. New style, yeah. They say I'm a rapper, and I say no. They say what you doing, trying to do somebody cold. I just let the music come from my soul, so all of my people can stay on the floor. They got a brand new dance. You gotta move your muscle. A brand new dance. It's called a Cupid Shuffle. It don't matter if you're young or you're old. Here we go. We gon' show you how it goes. To the right, to the right, to the right, to the right. yourself. Now walk it by yourself. Down, down, do your dance, do your dance. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Down, do your dance, do your dance. Let me see you do the Cupid. Down, do your dance, do your dance. Down, down, do your dance, do your dance. Yeah, yeah. Down, down, do your dance, do your dance. Let me see you do the Cupid. Down, do your dance, do the shuffle, baby. Now walk it by yourself. Now you see what I'm talking about. Oh, I represent for the dirty South, where we're known for swinging now. King of swing out, baby. I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about. Down, down, do your dance, do your dance. Down, down, do your dance, do your dance. Let me see you do the Cupid shuffle, the Cupid Cupid shuffle, the Cupid shuffle, the Cupid Cupid shuffle. Walk it by yourself, walk it by yourself. To the right, to the right, to the right, the right, the right. The left, to the left, to the left, the left, the left. Now kick, now kick, now kick, now kick, now walk it by yourself, walk it by yourself and do the Cupid shuffle. Now let me see you do the Cupid shuffle. Now let me see you do the. It's your boy Cupid, C-U-P, the I, the D. Mr. Bet on the track, got another hit indeed. Do your dance, come on, come on. Down, down, do your dance, do your dance. Let me see you. Do your dance, do your dance. Do your dance. Down, down, do your dance. We got a brand new dance. We got a brand new sound. We got a brand new feel. We got a brand new style, y'all.
Centre of gravity again, just drifts past players, doesn't he? They've taken it quickly, and Messi's on the charge! Oh, what a fabulous goal!
Bueno, pues el propio...
Good morning, guys. Today, top 10 rules for success. We are introduced to Robert Kiyosaki, and he is the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's a bestseller and an awesome book. I highly recommend it. And his advice today that stuck out for me on the first page is what focus means to him. Focus means following one course of action until it's done. It sounds so simple. It's the essence of determination, my core, my one word, and I believe our one word deep down inside. We have that ability to follow one course of action until it's done. So think about how you can apply that today in anything that you're trying to achieve. Follow one course of action until it's done. That's true focus. Maybe it's a situation where you just simply control your response, your focused response, to make sure that you don't respond negatively. Have a great day, everybody.
So that's the mind. The mind is like a GPS. It's a computer. It's someone wakes up, has a cup of coffee, they break the cup of coffee, and they usually say,
I'm gonna have a bad day.
hundreds of thousands of people over the year. It's like, I break a cup of coffee, something happens, see I'm gonna have a bad day. And then the brain looks for evidence. So in New York, we go to the train, I get on the train, and the train is delayed. But the train is always delayed. But because I say I'm gonna have a bad day, the GPS see I'm having a bad day. Then I get on the train, Ev, right? And in New York, they subways, I don't know if you ever took it, there's 3 seats. And there's me and someone else. and there's someone walking towards you and you're like, I know they're not going to try to fit in between us. There's no way they're going to try to fit in between us. And then they come and they try to fit in between you, and now half of your skin is on the seat, and you say, see, I'm having a bad day. And then in New York, we have this people that we lovingly call the onion people, because they have this odor sometimes, and when they sit next to you, you start tearing up. And so now I'm tearing up, and I say, see, I'm having a bad day. Then we get to the job, and you get to the job, and that coworker who doesn't give you a minute to like get your coffee, they're all in your face. See, I'm having a bad day. Because the mind, the brain looks for evidence. Neuroscience has shown that we have these pathways in our brain. I know you've done a lot of work featuring Joe Dispenza and the pathways that fire together, wire together, right? So all that is the program. You know, I'm not making a big enough impact as a program, and then the brain looks for evidence. So we want to go into the program and rewire it.
All right, Believe Nation, we are back. Another episode of Tell Me Why I Suck, and we have a return guest, Mr. Devin Bandison, mindset coach for the Stars. How we doing, man?
I'm doing great. Best day of my life, Ev.
So Devin was on before. That was actually a private conversation that we just decided to make public because why not? Now this is the official one that we know we're going public with. And Devin gave me some homework of what I need to do from the last time. It was watch a movie like that he called The Black Godfather. Well, that is called The Black Godfather, which I did. What does 35 million subscribers feel like? And then what are some of the low-grade thoughts? And he texted me this morning. He Instagram DM'd me this morning. He's like, brother, bring your homework. I'm like, dude, you don't know. I was reading it last night. I was refreshing it this morning. I've got my book right here in front of me. Like, I'm set. I'm ready to go. And round two. So where do you want to take this, man?
Yeah.
What do we do next?
Well, first off, I want to acknowledge you, man. You know, I think that, and Believe Nation and everybody who's tuning in, I think it's really important to see it's no mistake, and success leaves clues. It's no mistake why you've reached the level of success that you are, because the way you took on the homework was extraordinary. You're like my ideal client, right? Because you didn't just go through the motions, you took the essence of why you were getting the homework, right? There were 3 distinct assignments, and I loved how not only you took it on, but you shared it with your community. So if you haven't seen that part of the last video where Ev shares his, like, how he did the homework assignments, I think that in and of itself is a lesson for people of, if you want transformation, right? You know, there's a difference between information and transformation. A lot of people get a lot of information in. It's like, let me just get a lot of information. But transformation is when you really take it into mind, body, spirit, and you look at everything like this assignment as, how does this apply to me, right? Like, you could have took on the Black Godfather, like, I'm not black, I'm not a godfather, but you didn't take it on like that, right? You took it on like, how does this apply to me? And I just want to acknowledge you for that, my man. It was really powerful.
Cool. Well, I mean, I love the movie. I've never heard of Clarence before. He is the Black Godfather. I took 2 pages of notes. I don't know if you want to kind of go through it or not, but I got 2 pages on the Black Godfather. I got 1 page on what does 35 million subscribers feel like, and I got 1 page on low-grade thoughts. And the reason for this show is to take people behind the scenes of, hey, I'm not perfect. Tell me why I suck. Bring experts on. They pour into me, and in my learning, hopefully the audience learns something as well. So
Yeah.
Appreciate you coming back and giving me some extra feedback, and I'm excited for round 2. I
So,
don't know
so
where this
here's
is
round
going.
2. So this is what we'll do, because we really want to point towards the low-grade thoughts and rewiring our neural pathways, right? That's third, and I love that you said that was the least favorite of the assignment, right? You went into the sauna, so we'll talk about that whole experience in a minute. What I want to do first is, you know, there was something in our last conversation where I heard something in you, which is why I assigned the Black Godfather. And I think that you pointed to it in your homework, right? So what were the things that I think would be helpful? What were the things that stood out the most about that, watching that documentary, and how it applies to you?
So first off, it was a good documentary in that we shared, like, they shared his point of view and his interviews, and he had a lot of great quotes that I wrote down. But then also there's a lot of people sharing their perspective on him, and so you get to see kind of the other side, whether it's Sean Combs or David Geffen, or, a bunch of people from the industry sharing their thoughts. One of the things that came up consistently, and David Geffen said it at the end, and I got the exact quote here, was like, where was it? I don't know how he makes a living. He never used to charge for anything.
Yeah.
And that came up a couple times. And that was the number one feedback that I get when I'm with my peers and the people kind of, big names in my industry. It's like, we don't know how Evan makes money. We don't know how we could pay him. And I saw that. What's that?
Sorry to interrupt. Like, you were in, I remember, Mastermind with Brandon Bouchard and the whole crew. And that's what they were pressing you on, right? Like, hey, you got to tell us how to make money.
Yeah. It was for that group. Everybody had their chance to go around and ask a question, and mine was, "Tell me how I suck." Like, I don't have a question.
Yeah.
You guys know me. Tell me my blind spot. And it was Brendan and Dean Graziosi and Tom Bilyeu and Lisa Bilyeu and Jamie Kern-Lima. Those are like the 5 main people who are kind of not beating up on me, but pouring into me. And that was the number one feedback. It's like, dude, I just want to cut you a check. Like, how do I pay you? I don't know what you do.
Yeah.
You're always giving and helping us with what we're doing. And like, we've never paid you anything. I don't know how you make money. And their specific advice was like, you got to get clear on that because we'd love to pay you. And that was, a takeaway. But then in watching The Black Godfather, like, well, Clarence kind of figured it out. So it was like that was a nice little aha moment there. So that was kind of on the right path. Possibly, I'm still open. Like with all of this stuff, it's anything that I find that I am against is either nothing. Like if somebody gives me feedback, it's either, and I don't receive it well. It's either nothing or it's the whole thing. It's like either I'm so blocked that, man, you're hitting on something huge if I'm that against it.
Yeah.
I love how he was saying, I don't have problems, I have friends. And I don't make speeches, I make deals. So he was a big deal maker. I don't know that I consider myself a great deal maker, although I am very fascinated by business models. And so that might translate into, I see things differently in terms of how people can create deals, but I haven't been like the guy making the deals. So that's interesting. He had a lot of parties and always having people over and networking. And I'm definitely don't see myself as that guy. Like we don't really have a ton of people over. Introverts, but it's fine. It's like, it's taking the pieces that you can learn from. And it's like, okay, how can I apply some of these things to my life? One of the things I loved, like he was always kind of on trend, on culture, fighting for equality, making sure people didn't get screwed on their deals. I'm not the expert on Black history in America, but he was the guy helping people get great deals. He got Hank Aaron, like the biggest ever deal, like Coca-Cola as a brand sponsorship. He was making sure, like Sean Combs, that he was making sure that everybody in the community wasn't getting screwed over on their deals.
One of the things I see in you, Ev, is that you, in your own way, are that guy. You're like the ultimate connector, right? So whenever people have come up in my world, even with if they want to scale their YouTube, right? Like the way you make yourself available, right, to connect with people, to like really be behind the scenes, I want you to see that you are actually a driving force for change and good in the world, in the area in which you serve people in your highest form. And I think that it's been people who spanned all kinds of cultures I've sent your way, who you've been, and every time they come back and they're so grateful because you've taken them from here and then opened up a new opportunity for them to see a bigger way to serve. So can you see that? I want you to make sure you see that.
Yeah, I mean, in helping people for sure.
Yeah.
Inside my bones, it goes electric wavy when I turn it on. All through my city, all through my home, we're flying up, no ceiling when we in our zone. I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body when it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off it, moving so phenomenally. We're more like the way we rock it, so don't stop. And under the lights and everything goes, nowhere to hide when I'm getting you close. When we move, well, you already know. magical. It's in the air, it's in my blood, it's rushing on. I don't need no reason, don't need control. I fly so high, no ceiling when I'm in my zone. Cause I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body when it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off it, moving so phenomenally. You're more like the way we rock it, so don't stop, stop, stop. Under the lights when everything goes, nowhere to hide when I'm getting too close. When we move, well, you already know. So just imagine, nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feeling good, good creeping up on you, so just dance, dance, dance. Come on, all those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, dance, dance. And ain't nobody leaving soon, so keep dancing. So just dance, dance, dance. So just dance, dance, dance. Come on. Dance, dance, dance. Come on. Dance, dance, dance. Come on. Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feeling good, good, up on you, so just dance, dance, dance. All those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, dance, dance. Ain't nobody leaving soon, so keep dancing, dance. Come on. Dance, dance, dance. Come on. Dance, dance, dance. Come on.
Messi, el que tiene la posibilidad de transformar la pena máxima, gol.
Steps up, hits it, and into the back of the net. Barcelona.
Good morning, everyone. Living, laughing, and loving our way to infinite mind wealth. Today, I'm going to share with you a moment that I watched on a video where Les Brown described what will happen when we start to try to take control of our minds and follow our dreams. And he goes on to say, and only the way Les Brown can do. And I highly recommend look him up. He's the best at demonstrating infinite mind wealth and then laughing with it and having a good time with it. And he goes on to describe a situation where he refers to us going after our dreams. And he says, get ready, because when you go after your dreams, things are going to happen. Things are going to happen that don't go your way. And when I heard this the first time, it made me laugh. He says, life is going to knock you down. It's going to throw you to the canvas. It's going to slam you down, and it's going to hold you by the throat and say, you got a dream? And then you're going to say, I ain't got no dream. No, I ain't got no dream. Because the fear will kick in. Don't let that fear kick in. Remember Les Brown and laugh our way there. Have a great day, everybody.
Going broad is the slowest game, but the most sustainable game. So winning on YouTube, for example, it's the hardest to get going because people don't know who you are yet. You got to build your brand. You got to get great message in front of the camera, get comfortable, all that kind of stuff. It just takes time to build the brand. Yeah. And a lot of people, they quit along the way because for that to become something that's financially feasible to support you, most people quit because they need to pay the bills. So that's why figuring out like how can we make money while we're building the brand is a lot more critical. So you can do it that I'm just going to do coaching one-on-one and keep my 15 people or 20 people, whatever is sustainable inside your 4 hours a day, and then you have 2 hours to do other stuff, right? Build the brand. Or you can go coaching, group, and then build the brand. The more financial resources you have, the more you can invest in team to do a lot of this stuff to help you. The more it's you trying to figure everything else out, everything's going to go slower.
Need motivation?
Watch a top 10 with Believe Nation.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because running the business is hard, and waking up every day and getting to work when you're all by yourself is hard. And the thing that saved me, that continues to inspire me, motivate me, give me hope, inspiration, ideas, is looking at the stories of people who've done a lot more than me. And I learn strategies, I get motivation, and it gets me to believe in myself to go off and attack the day. And so I hope this video inspires you to do the same as well. So today, let's learn from me and my team's take on my top 10 rules for success. Enjoy. Rule number 2 is have self-awareness.
I was curious if you found yourself taking on personality traits of recklessness, you went way far on the other side, and discernment was starting to get grayed, the lines were starting to get blurred. Has any of that ever crept into I know I don't want to live with regret, so I'm going to go all in on the other side?
I don't think that happens.
Okay.
There's planners and doers, and the planners need to do more and the doers need to plan more. But it's very rare that a planner just becomes a doer and stops planning.
Yeah.
Right? So there's people who just plan things for years and then they still don't do anything. And there's people who just take action, but they're all over the place, and tomorrow's a different action, the next is, and there's no plan or strategy, and they end up just running around in circles. Tons of action, but not moving anywhere. You're just running in a circle. And so I think I haven't really seen people move from one category to the other. But whatever category you're in, you need more of that other thing. People ask me about humility. It's well, you're humble and all this stuff. It's okay, well, I need more bravado. I would be doing my mission more service if I had a little more bravado and ego and look at me and chest thumping. It's taken me a long time to come out of my shell and even say yes to any interview. I've done enough of these now, but if this was 10 years ago, I would have said no. I would have said, no, Nicholas, or what are your questions? I need to know everything you're going to ask me, because I'd be afraid of letting you down or letting your show down. And so I think whatever those personality traits are that you have, I haven't seen people completely move to the other side. And if anything, you need more of that in your life. So, I would think most people need more of the let's not live with regret, because most people live with regret. And there's some few crazy people might have a gene missing or something who are just insanely reckless and don't care. And maybe they need a little more caution and planning and strategy, So it's the self-awareness to know what you need most.
Yeah, self-awareness definitely helps.
Rule number 3 is believe.
What is your superpower?
What is my superpower?
Yeah.
Believing in people.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
I think whatever the thing is that, what's my biggest kryptonite? Believing in myself. The thing that you want to give to the world is also the thing that you need the most too. So now people say, well, you're the believe guy. How do you not believe in yourself? Well, I believe in myself to get here, to do everything that I've done. It's the next step. The next level of Evan Carmichael is on the other side of even more belief. And as I learn and improve and grow and figure out some new strategies, I'm going to then share it with my audience as well. Rule number 4, develop an interest in AI. The AI tools are incredible.
Yeah.
So if you're not interested in AI and you're not applying it to your business and not following along, you're losing. Everybody needs to figure out AI in their business 100%. It's getting better by leaps and bounds. Every week, there's some new tool, there's some new thing you can do. It's crazy. We've already accidentally posted a video of me on my channel. My wife thought it was me and she posted it to my Instagram, and it wasn't me. It wasn't my video. It wasn't my voice. It wasn't my script. And my team was just playing around with it and sent it to us as hey, here's a demo. And she thought it was something that needed to be posted. So she posted it.
What?
Already. And it's only going to get worse and crazier and more authentic and more real. I could watch and say that's not me, but I thought there's no way. People will know. But if it fooled my wife already, then it's going to fool everybody.
Wow.
Right?
And what's that software? Or they put everything together from different AIs?
It was different. There's the video AI, and then there's the script AI. It was GPT to write the video, to write the script, write a script about belief in the voice of Evan Carmichael. And then it pops something up, right? And then 11 Labs to train the audio to actually have it sound like me. And I've trained my voice, right? So we've done the recordings and we have all the samples. So we've trained my voice. I don't know what I'm going to use it for yet, but I'm playing with it. You have to play with it. So train my voice. The video one, I don't remember which. We're playing with around a bunch of video tools. So I don't remember which video tool we use to make it happen. But yeah, we posted it. And
wow.
Then I had to go back and say, oh, this is This is AI, Evan, you know. But it's only going to get better. But this is where NFTs come in. This is where why it's so valuable, because that still requires a lot of it's GPT plus 11 Labs plus whatever video tool, you know, then to make it into an Instagram video. Like it's a lot of mess to figure all that out. That's all gonna go away. Just like NFTs, it's hard to set up a wallet and figure out Ethereum and buy it and get it. Like it's hard, but that's gonna all go away. That's gonna be the default, right? It's gonna be easy in the future to make that happen.
Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there.
Rule number 5 is establish emotional connections.
I've heard
We end. Well, quote unquote, we never really end. We now focus on our breathing. Back straight, eyes closed, legs crossed. Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Feel that power that you're using to control your breathing. It's your connection to oneness, to what we all really are, to the truth. The ultimate truth. That you were born to win control over your mind. That when we all do that, we find out the truth of who we all really are. Infinitely intelligent beings, powerful beyond measure. The power of all knowing right here, right now, this moment. You're already made of all knowing of the universe. You're made of that same stuff. With that, you can always have and be your true, peaceful, happy, kind, loving self. No matter what. So reflect back on your effort today. Always remember that if you gave your best in whatever you were doing, that you can do it now, and you can do it forever. That's what makes you a winner. Born to be happy, peaceful, to be mind healthy and wealthy, always. No matter what's going on outside your mind, no matter what anybody or anything suggests about you, any negativity,